Welcome to Beyond Business. This is the show where we look at the latest trends in the global economy. You've probably heard the saying, all is fair in love and war, but in today's program, we're asking, what's fair in business? How far could and should companies go to spy on their rivals? We'll be honing in on how big the risks are for businesses to fall victim to industrial espionage, and also on what firms can do to prevent it. Experts say small and medium-sized companies in particular often overlook the threat. Let's take a closer look in this report, and then we'll be back here in the studio with our guest.
Thermal cameras, ultra-sophisticated engines, high-tech robots. This is a vast trade show near Paris for industrial subcontractors. Every year, some 1,700 small businesses come here to present their new technologies. It's the ideal place to find strategic information. But small companies are not always aware of the risks they face, such as espionage and information theft. Frank Tonini is a consultant in economic intelligence. He helps small businesses collect and protect information during trade shows like this one.
Trade shows represent the third biggest source of information after the press and internet. It's a time when your know-how can be unveiled, when ruthless competitors can try and take it in an aggressive way. So our aim today is to give you some helpful advice.
Before the doors open to the public, Tonini shows us how some companies are careless.
Look, there's no one here. Here, it's 9 o'clock and nobody's here. In 15 minutes, everyone will be arriving. Only 10% of the exhibitors are here. The ones who are here early are going to have a look around and see if they can find anything interesting on the empty stands.
Competitors and industrial spies are likely to find, quite easily, business cards, commercial documents, and technological know-how. On one company's computer, Tonini is even able to consult customers' private information and the firm's projects. A wealth of information for any rival. When the head of the stand appears, he's a little shameful.
I agree with you.
This is unbelievable. I've never seen this. You have to be much more careful.
I do agree with you.
Next time, he'll probably put his material in a glass case and prepare a room where he can hold discreet conversations, or even go on the hunt for information regarding his competitors. That's what Eva Escandon does. She owns a company that makes machines for the food industry. She's keeping a close eye on her Chinese rivals.
They are more and more present here in our market. So, well, I wanted to see if they could be rivals for us in our sector. Is it spying? Well, that depends on how you proceed. If we decide not to conduct it in that form, it can be just technology watch.
But technology watch isn't easy if you don't speak Mandarin. Tonini introduces her to Ye Chao, his Chinese collaborator. She's already spotted a potential rival and brings her to the stand. Her intuition is correct. Eva Escandon has indeed discovered a new competitor. Scarlett Moukahal works for the Chamber of Commerce of the Parisian region. She's found a Tunisian firm, and she'd like the managers to meet the businesses that are members of the chamber. She has one advantage.
The good thing is that I speak Arabic, so they'll be more at ease than if they had to speak a language that isn't their mother tongue. I come to see them, and I want them to see me as a friend and not as an economic rival trying to spy on them.
The Tunisian manager is interested by her proposals, and they celebrate the future partnership with some cakes. A trade show is a place of opportunities, and not only one where rivals can steal your know-how.
Okay, for more now on how companies can compete, we can turn to Jean-Claude Thiel. He's an expert in competitive intelligence, and he advises companies on how to deal with the risks of industrial espionage. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, are you surprised to see that companies leave so much information in plain sight at trade fairs?
Yes, frankly, it's indeed really incredible to see how naive people can be, how unprepared they can be, how some concrete examples as we saw, not to be before time at the opening, Or maybe it's due to the fact that the fair was in front, I don't know.
No, so you're saying that this is a common sight, indeed, that perhaps small and medium-sized businesses are a little bit naive when it comes to these issues and when it comes to protecting their businesses.
Yes, but naivete is not a fact like that. It is due to the fact that they are not prepared, there is insufficient training, they're obviously not very professional people, I mean, not the best, sorry to say like that, not the best are present behind on the stands, in the booth, etc. So all the factors aggregated give the impression that it is not so professional.
But how big is this problem, though? For instance, when we look at a trade fair, the untrained eye would say, how much information could you really get out of a show like that? Is it really such a big source of information?
Yes, it is, and not only a source of information, but think a little bit about history. The history of fairs is the history of capitalism. So it is, by definition, the venues where traders meet other traders, sometimes also bankers. So it should be the natural place, not to protect, but to be open, with a certain minimum of a protection, of course, because you can make business. And basically, if you are a small enterprise and you participate in fairs, it is to meet new clients, to observe your competitors, to observe if you have common providers between you and the competitors. So that is the philosophy of the essence of participating into a trade show.
What then should small and medium-sized companies do to protect themselves? What can they do specifically?
Specifically, you see, just to tell you first that unfortunately, but it is a fact, for instance, the job, the function of business intelligence officer does not exist with SMEs. So if that function is not internal, you will say, oh, okay, but maybe you have external providers. Yes, but basically they are limited to provide their services to the bigger companies. So there is a divide between the access to the international market.
So there isn't really that kind of service provided to smaller companies for a cheap sum of money?
Yes, there are.
It costs a lot.
But most of the time, the PME cannot, the SME, sorry, cannot afford to pay specialized consultants. So they can mutualize, they can, inside the business federations, inside the industry federation, they can have access to that. You have also the chambers of commerce that provide information. But typically, specifically, to get new clients, to have access to new markets, like the lady who spoke Arabic, to target the new markets, the opening countries. So that is a challenge for the SMEs.
So the biggest problem perhaps is that companies, at least they need to be aware of these issues.
First, yes, to be aware. And for that, we are not lacking in this country of reports, of even in the Ministry of Finance, there are specialized departments for that. But the result is that in the global competition, we have handicaps, yes.
You're among those who say, though, that companies should just not stay on the defensive, that they should also go on the offensive.
Yes,
What does that mean? Are you saying then that companies should be spying on each other?
Not spying. To be offensive, it's to be proactive, it's to be inventive, it's to be imaginative, it's to be inventive. It is more linked to an entrepreneurial mindset than to things that make certain people dream and others be afraid. I mean, the analogy with the specialized services. Spying is an activity for sovereign countries, not for in business you have no spies.
What does that mean, though, practically, go on the offensive for a company? How does a company do that?
It's, for instance, to be the first to go to the other. I mean, in simple terms of behavior, not to stay statically in your booth if you are an expert, you are participating in a show. So to go, to speak with the others, to try to use all the human skills, in fact, human intelligence, if you like it. So that is a part of the offensive spirit and attitude and the behavior.
Isn't the challenge, though? I mean, when I was reading up about this, I was surprised to think of this, or when I thought of this, that indeed there are a lot of ways in which companies can go about doing this legally, and I stress legally. For instance, reading newspapers, reading articles about competitors, attend these kind of trade fairs. What other ways are there to really check out the competition?
I suppose that before you go, you are a company, and before you decide to go to that or this trade show, is what you are doing. It depends on the sector of activity when you are. So you have plenty of information in academy The web, of course, it is banal to say that it is a source of plenty of information.
So basically, a good old Google search can
yes,
do a lot.
Yes, of course, yes. A good search motor engine is the first tool. Yes, of course, yes.
Do you think there are countries in which, you were referring to France before, do you think that there are countries in which there is a higher level of consciousness when it comes to these issues?
It's if you compare the actors on the global scene, and the conclusion is the best are those who are commercial-minded. So we in France we have an engineer tradition, an engineer culture tradition. Mm-hmm. So the Germans, for instance, have also engineers, better than ours maybe, but they have also the selling mentality. So this is the broad comparison I can make. But now, up to concerning the actors on the global competition, you see every day the U.S. Congress orders and receive reports on the Chinese who are attacking and stealing the industrial secrets of America. So, but that is the landscape.
It's a very competitive landscape out there, and you're saying that France perhaps has fallen behind, and that countries like Germany, they're definitely ahead of France at this stage.
It depends on the sector of activity. I guess that in the defense, electronics, computer industry, we are good, including in the intelligence collection activity, analysis, which is more important than collection. Collection is easy. That is sometimes make people dream about spying, etc. But in fact, in terms of what is easy and more in terms of what is valuable, it is definitely analysis.
Anyone can gather information, but not everyone can analyze it in the proper way.
Analyze and put the right interpretation. Yes, definitely, yes.
All right. Thanks very much indeed, Jean-Claude Thill, for speaking to us. It's been a pleasure to have you here. It's been a pleasure to have you watch France 24. Do stay with us. We have more news coming your way soon.